All the things I never said. The funeral and the fire escape. I wasn't supposed to be here. And by here, I don't mean the city or the bakery with the disinterested barista and existential chalkboard quotes. I mean here, watching people mourn me like I was a discontinued flavor of ice cream, briefly loved, vaguely missed, and destined to be replaced. From this vantage point, a metal fire escape 3 floors up with a perfect view of St. Clair's Chapel, I could see everyone I had spent the last decade pushing away. My sister, whom I hadn't spoken to in 3 years, wore black like it was a second skin. My ex, the one who said I couldn't commit to a grocery list, looked like she'd swallowed glass. If you're wondering why I faked my death, the answer is I was bored. And also curious, and possibly mildly unhinged, depending on which therapist you ask. The lie begins. The plan started as a joke. You know the kind. Midnight wine, existential dread, a Google search for how to disappear. But then it took shape. I gave my landlord notice, donated half my clothes, hired a friend of a friend to plant the car. A burnt-out Honda Civic on the edge of the Hudson makes a good body substitute, especially when no one's eager to look too closely. Philosophically, I justified it. What is identity if not the stories people tell about you when you're gone? I wanted to know mine. I listened to eulogies through a cheap Bluetooth speaker balanced on my knee. Lance was complicated, said my college roommate, who stole my socks and blamed our RA. Lance saw the world differently, said my editor, who never returned my last manuscript. Saw it differently? I saw it like a cracked mirror. Fragmented, sure, but still reflective. She found me on day 3. Julia, my almost fiancé. She didn't cry at the funeral, but she showed up at my hideout like she knew. Nice beard, she said. Very grieving forest hermit meets failed poet. I blinked. How did you... Please, she snorted. You used the same fake name you did when we played hooky from jury duty. And just like that, the game was up. Coffee and confessionals. We sat in a booth at midnight, 2 ghosts drinking caffeine and chewing over old wounds. Why'd you do it? She asked. I shrugged. I wanted to hear the truth. And? It's strange, I said. You hope people say something profound, but mostly they talk about how you were always late or that one time you spilled wine on their cat. She laughed, but it wasn't just humor. It was grief and memory and the rusted-out engine of forgiveness trying to start. The lie unraveled. Word spread. My friend Gabe called my burner phone, furious. You owe me $48 for your fake wake. Also, people think I killed you. Then came the journalists, the podcast invites. One guy with a camera who tried to make it a YouTube doc. I became more famous dead than I ever was alive. And I hated it. The philosopher and the taxi driver. One night, I got into a cab driven by an old man who hummed Coltrane and said nothing for 10 minutes. You're carrying a silence, he said finally. I looked at him. What? People don't fake death to escape life. They do it to escape being misunderstood in life. That sat with me. Still does. Home isn't a place. I went back to my apartment. Someone else lived there now. They painted over the wall where I used to scribble quotes in pencil. Kafka, Baldwin, Didion. I stood outside and realized I didn't want that life back, but I also didn't want to stay invisible. The letter. I wrote letters to everyone I'd ghosted. My mother, who sent voicemails that sounded like prayers. My old mentor, who once told me I was a better writer when I was miserable. I signed each one, still here, learning, trying. Love, Lance. Re-entry. I didn't come back with fireworks, just a social post. Rumors of my death were... okay, technically my fault. I'm sorry. Half the world canceled me. The other half offered me book deals. One woman in Seattle proposed marriage. The new chapter. I meet Julia sometimes, at the same bakery where it all began. "I forgive you," she said once, brushing crumbs off her lap. "I forgive you for the death thing or the time I made you watch 5 hours of Tarkovsky." She smiled. "Both. I'm still writing, still lost half the time. But now I say what I mean, even when it hurts, especially then." They say life is what happens when you're busy making other plans. But I think life is what happens when you stop running from the mirror. And sometimes it takes faking your death to finally come alive.